and we are off to a little review of the latest Siebel features delivered in Siebel 24.11. So share my screen. And here we go. So yeah, 24.11. So we have just two more, or well, one more literally releases in Siebel 24 before we go to Siebel 25. And as we just discussed before starting the recording, next year is 2025, and that's the semi-official 30th anniversary of the Siebel product, as it was. Is not really something I can really put my finger on the date, but it was, the first version was shipped in 1995. It was Siebel sales. Yeah, I don't know the version number, but maybe some of you do. 2 or 3. That was the first version. I wasn't around in the Siebel space back in 95 yet. So yeah, we're looking at 24.11, which was released on the spot, middle of the month, and it has two major features: one for the on-premise version and one for Siebel Cloud Manager. And the one feature that is in both is the Siebel Upgrade Factory 2.0. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And also in Siebel Cloud Manager, as always, there's a lot of movement, and there's a new feature documented there for that. Tomcat 9093 is the same as you would have in 24.10, so it wasn't updated this month. And might be preaching to the totally wrong cloud. So is anybody in the room on a project that is prior to IP17, so IP16 and earlier? Is anybody there? Maybe shout out or put it in the chat box.
In ages.
So yeah, so all of us probably have the upgrade, the last big upgrade in the rear view mirror, I guess, because there's nobody talking about the version they're on. And so, but you might remember the days when you upgraded Siebel from pre-IP17 to Siebel 2021. And you might remember 1 year ago, a little bit more, 23.6 Oracle released the Siebel Upgrade Factory. And the first release was actually on Cloud Manager, which required the OCI tenancy and still does. And the idea is to upload your entire development, a copy of your development database, or an export of the repository of the prior version to Oracle Cloud, and then run a process, so to speak, which is basically the development upgrade process. And that was made available in 23.9 and on-prem. And let's dub it Upgrade Factory 1.0, because now we have 2.0. So that is included in both the on-prem version of Siebel 24.11 and the Cloud Manager version. So it's released simultaneously. And the good news is, if you ever have to do a Siebel upgrade, this probably will help you a lot. And the oldest supported version has been decreased, I would say, from 8.0 to 7.8.2. So you can now use the Upgrade Factory on anything as old as 7.8.2. That's really old. And it now supports test and production upgrades as well. So you can, after you've done your development upgrade with Upgrade Factory, then you get some files, control files, which you use to upload a copy or upgrade a copy of your test or production database on cloud or on-prem. So it's not limited to cloud. And there is an assessment step in the version 1, which is very lengthy. So I ran it once and it took hours and hours, 6-7 hours, to just produce a report, a preliminary report, what conflicts you have in your repository. And that assessment step has now been made available as a separate step. So that is interesting in itself. Take a quick look, even if it's for most of us that are live here, is not really relevant, but people will be watching on YouTube and they might appreciate that. So let's dive a little bit back into the history of Siebel. Anybody remember Siebel 753 is the first version mentioned here because it's the oldest version you can upgrade from in a supported path. So that's documented in, you can upgrade from earlier versions, but it's like a custom upgrade. I pity, I pity anyone who would upgrade from Siebel 2000 today.
Yeah, 752 was the debacle version.
Yeah, you might call it that. Yeah, so I've seen people throw monitors. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so 753 was the stable 75, let's call it, and it was in 2003, and that is 21 years ago. So you can go 21 years old Siebel and you can upgrade. Of course, it's a little bit limited. You have to do a two-step upgrade, really. So that's the two-step upgrade versions you see here, where you have to go through 811. But before you reach, you might be on a version between that, so 782. And you see those one-step upgrade versions are all supported by the Upgrade Factory now, all the way from 7.8 to 8.2, the mystery version, let's call it that. And 811 is the first where we had the first kind of innovation pack. It was never really called officially, I think, IP 13, or was it? And it introduced, of course, OpenUI. So it was that era of Siebel going all the way up to IP16. So where you can run a slightly different upgrade called the incremental, which included an incremental repository merge, which was a different version, but same outcome of the repository merge. And that is the upgrade path you can still go with Siebel. If you are on one of these older versions, upgrade project, using Upgrade Factory or not, it will still take you person years because that's correlating to how much time you invested in customizing the hell out of Siebel. And it still surprises me to this day that you can, no matter what amount of customization, there is a high effort. But I have seen projects who have an immense amount of customization. Sometimes hundreds of developers worked for, hundreds of person years literally in customizing, and then they still could upgrade it with significant effort, but it's upgraded and it runs, it's stable. And that, of course, brings you all the way to the latest. Well, if you upgrade this year, 24, if you upgrade next year, 25, direct upgrade. And if you are already on IP17, well, as you know, 18.5, the continuous update releases started, and we are on 24.11 right now. So you can do a continuous update twice a year, every month, you name it. And it's measured in person days. So it takes a few person days to update to the most recent Siebel version. Okay, so that was a little bit going down in history lane, looking at the old versions. It's always fun. And here is, just for your viewing pleasure, are some screenshots I took when I actually took a Siebel 15 database and ran the assessment report with the new Upgrade Factory. So get nice looking HTML report, which you can use to make a preliminary assessment of the upgrade to come. So it's not upgrading your database, but it's just actually dry running an upgrade. It imports repositories and everything, but it dry runs the upgrade and creates that nice report. Creates a mighty data file, 3 gigabyte, and it uses that data file to generate those reports here. So there you see the first report is the conflicts. Not many here because it was a vanilla database, but it had some conflict on itself. And here's the modified schema, all the modifications on the table. So I think that's very useful because to foresee, okay, what tables will be modified and how many rows are in there. So you see those are different tabs in the report, and there's the famous or infamous rep crawler, which is also now no longer part of the official upgrade. So even if it would run an upgrade that in a few months ago that would have run rep crawler to find out the unreferenced objects, and now that is part of the assessment report. And there's also a report on workflows and tasks for task-based UI to tell you about which workflows or tasks have multiple versions. You know, you come from a world where you have versions on workflows and which version will be retained. So you can take action, you can make decisions. Okay. So yeah, that's the new thing, the Upgrade Factory 2.0 with that report. And the same exists on Cloud Manager. And if you are into Siebel Cloud Manager, then or yeah, watching the space, you might notice it's updated more than once per month still. So there's very often there's a release in the middle of the month, so that twice per month. And so it keeps being a moving target, especially for people like me who create training material. So that's very hard. And there's a new utility documented. I haven't tried it. It supposedly synchronizes files between your machine and the Cloud Manager container, files that you need for deployment, for example, wallet files, key stores, properties files, private keys, and so forth. So they made that facility so you can use REST to upload these files and not have to resort to with SCP or something like that. Okay, and yeah, it's Black Friday, and you might have noticed our little campaign on the Siebel Hub, where you have a sheep on a rocket, and so taking off with new training. And this Siebel Containers Cloud and SCM course is one of our new trainings that we have. And until tomorrow, we have a 10% discount on everything, and we have a discount code. And existing gold members get another 10%, so you can get up to 30%. That's our, well, we have to, Richard and I thought it would be fun to do a Black Friday thing. Okay, so that's it from my side. So I'm very pleased that we have our guest speaker today from Endo IT, Laszlo. And he will talk about the Visual Studio Code plugin that you might have heard about in previous Siebel Fridays and read about on the Siebel Hub. So Laszlo, the stage is yours.
Welcome everybody. I'm Laszlo Bakos from Endo IT, and we made this Visual Studio Code extension called Siebel Script and Web Template Editor. I will show the screen, just a minute. Everybody can see it?
Just one moment. Yep. Okay, we see it.
I hope at least someone uses this from this meeting. So we are making a big update for this extension. It will be released on the 16th of December. And now I want to show the new features and just new stuff in the extension. So this extension can be found in the Visual Studio Code Marketplace. It can be downloaded here. It's called Siebel Script and Web Template Editor. You can find it. Its icon is this big S letter with a pencil. It can be installed from here. It is still the older version here, so I will install it from the command line. This is a possibility if you want to install this on machines which do not have internet access. After installing the extension, either from command line or the marketplace, you will get a new icon in the Visual Studio Code. It's the same S icon. If you click on it, the extension URL will appear. this writing that you have to open a folder to use the extension. A folder is needed because it's have to store the Siebel object server scripts and web templates somewhere on the machine. So let's open a folder for this. Now the extension restarted. And if we open it, we can see just a minute. So there are 6 panels for the extension. First is the data source. You can select which connections you want to use to get the data from. And you got 2 information messages that 2 files were created in the selected folder. I will show them to you. This is the index.d.ts. This file is there because the Visual Studio Code can use this file and can perform semantic checking and auto-completion for Siebel-specific object in script like business services or business objects and others. And hopefully the extension loaded. Yes, it's loaded. So we create a new connection with the new connection button. We have to give it a unique name. I will call it ND demo. Have to write it here the URL on which the Siebel REST API is available. The username used for basic authentication and the password for this username. And then if we click on test connection, we will get a result if the connection is working, or if there's some error, then the error will be written here. Now you can see the connection is now working. So we can save this connection. If we save it, now there are more options appearing, like we can add workspaces manually, like main or some developer workspace, which exists in this connection. So these 2 UIs for creating editing connection and new additions, it was much more difficult in the older versions to create this type of connection. And we can set it as the default connection and save this connection. Okay. And now we can select the connections from this connection. Select box, select the workspaces we just added, and select what kind of object we want to query. Now let's start with business service, and we can type in here, and it will query Siebel. Just a minute. It takes some time the Siebel to wake up, I think. Yeah, now we found this custom business service, which we were queried. And we can see it here in this list, or we can query applets. You can see the applets which are matching the search string. And if we click on a business service, we will get a question if we want to get all the server scripts of the business service or get only the server scripts names. Now just let's get the server scripts name for this business service. And we see we have these 2 scripts for this service. If we click on it, we can download them. Let's just get these server scripts. Would be faster. So maybe the Siebel is acting up. Yes, so it's finally succeeded. And if you download the script, we will get the script. It is downloaded in the following structure as a connection, workspace name, type of script, it's the service, and the name of the business service. And now it's downloaded. We can see the service script code. And there are 3 action buttons which we can use for the script. For instance, if we add another variable like a new string, we can use this compare functionality to compare it with Siebel. If we click on this, it is a new, we can select to which workspace compare the script to. Select main, select this, and we will see that this is the one which is in Siebel, and this is one which downloaded, and you can see we can compare the scripts and can revert the changes from Siebel, from other workspaces, like this. Sorry. And other functionality we can do is we can get the script again from Siebel with this downward pointing chevrons. This pulls the script from Siebel and override this on the disk, and we can push it to Siebel, so it will be in the given workspace with the upward pointing arrows. And we get error because this is it is from the main workspace, and the main workspace cannot be updated. So we have to get it from the other workspace, which can be edited. I will query it for again. Another script. I just made some modifications in it. If I push it to Siebel, it will reply if it was successful or not. It wasn't successful. There's some kind of network problems. I think it was working half an hour ago. Yes, now it was successful. We get this message, and if we just now clear it, we can get it back from Siebel, this updated script. And another good feature is that we can get very good auto completion. For instance, if we want to want to write some script code like getting business component or a business object, you can see that the application is already given up, and you can auto complete it, and you will show its methods like get business object. If you use this variable, get this getBoostCom method. And it makes easier to write scripts and even catches errors. For instance, if you want to use a method on an object which does not have that method, then it will say the problems. Yes, one problem is that this does not can handle this sign because it's not in native JavaScript, but it can be ignored, this problem. And one other thing I want to show that even new server scripts can be created without needing to open the Siebel tools. You just make a new file with .js or ts extension. You create a function in it with the same name as the file name. And if you push it to Siebel, it will be created as a new business service script for the given business service. If the name of the file and the function differs, it will throw an error then, because they should be the same. If we do that, it's timeouting again. It's successfully created. And if we query again this object, this custom business service, we see that it is now can be found in Siebel. If we click on a script which is already on the disk, we will get a question that you want to open the script from the machine or want to overwrite it from Siebel. As you see, that there were many windows which you have to click or every time you click a script with questions, but this behavior can be customized. Usually you use the extension like there is what to do when we click on a business, an object. I want to always get all the method names. So if I set this setting, then I don't have to click, it always downloads the method if it has one. Or we can set the single file auto download flag. If we set it true, then it is always downloads the files. You don't have to click on the dialog to assure it. And this was the talk mostly. And thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And just let me show you this. This is the changes mostly. And if you want to test the extension before it's released in December 16th, contact us. And thank you for your attention again.
Okay, thank you very much, Laszlo. Yeah, please give Laszlo a round of applause. That was really great, and it's great to see the plugin evolving and getting new features. And I particularly like the comparison, which is really great. So you can quick compare with the same or even different workspaces, which is really helpful, I guess. Okay, people seem to love it. Yeah, as Laszlo said, if you have any questions, please fire away.
Oh, I remember I forgot a feature.
Oh, there's another feature. There's even
can I
more.
still show it?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, still on.
So because you saw that when for a connection you can give the workspaces by hand. But there's another possibility. You can get the workspaces from Siebel.
Oh yeah, read
There
them
is
from the
it's
rest.
a checkbox for it. If you click it, it will query the Siebel if you can use this feature, because the Siebel does not have a native workspaces API. So for this to work, you need to use a custom integration object, which lets you query workspaces from the REST API. This integration object can be found in the repository of the extension. It can be imported into Siebel. And after that, you can use this feature, and it's good because I just clicked on it, save the connection, and I will get the I think it's still timing out. I don't know what's up with my network. Yes, it's timed out, but now it should work. No. Oh, because it should show the workspace list.
Okay, that's the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
usual curse of
Yeah,
live
okay, and
demos.
finally,
Oh, now it worked. Now it
finally,
worked.
so we can see if there are many workspaces.
Yay.
But when using this option, you only get the workspaces created by the given username, and this workspace should be either created, checkpointed, or edited in progress.
Oh, wow. Yes. Nice.
You can query other workspaces as well, and you don't have to refresh manually the workspaces every time you change it.
Okay. So I see one question in the chat from Nick. What is the cost of this plugin?
It's free.
It is free, yes.
It's
Wow.
free. It can be found in the Visual Studio Extension Marketplace. It's an open source plugin.
Okay, so
It can be downloaded from here. You
yeah.
can get this new version from us.
Yeah, as you say, if you want to test the new version that Laszlo has been showing before 16th of December, is that right, Laszlo?
Yes, yes.
You can contact Endo
us
IT directly.
Are you seeing the PowerPoint? No.
The PowerPoint
No.
is
Oh, it's because it's
there. It is. Yeah.
that's because it's showing it in my other
Yeah, but we
screen.
can see it fine. So
Okay.
I just put your email address in
Thank you.
in the chat so everybody can grab it, right? Okay. And Christian has a question or a thought. Is this usable for using AI in Visual Code? So that is Copilot and related AIs. So what the, yeah,
Yes, usable, I think. There was some, we just talked about it, Alex. There was some guys using this extension with some Copilot in an Oracle talk.
this was even featured in a
Yes.
webinar a few weeks ago, or yeah, in September, I think, or August, where somebody demonstrated Copilot for using Copilot with writing eScript, and they happen to have your plugin in Visual Studio Code. So it goes perfectly together. Of course, you need to pay up for the Copilot license. Yeah.
That could be another topic for you, because I've been using Copilot a lot to help write script.
Yeah, and then how's the experience?
It's not perfect, but it gives you a big structure that you can work with. Like trying to remember how switches work.
Yes.
You tell it what it wants, and it says, "Oh, here's your switch for you," or here's your loop, or Here's your property set, how to do stuff.
Here's how you sort the array.
Yeah, sort of all types of little things that you know, but you can't remember right off the top of your head. So you
Yeah.
start doing your plagiarism, looking through all your old scripts to find something, and it just pops it in there really quick. So
Yes.
it's been a godsend. I've even had it analyze uh, on my own business version uh, a whole set of script and told me what everything was going on in it and where
Yeah.
variables were being used, and it's
Write
like,
some,
whoa,
yeah, write some comments or even some
yeah,
documentation. Yeah.
it's
So exciting times we live in.
it is, you know.
Yeah.
I even use it for helping with server scripts that I need to do my Linux shutdowns and shut ups and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
play with it. It's not perfect, but it gets you pretty darn close, a lot faster than trying to remember all this stuff.
Oh yeah, and exactly as you say, that's my same experience here. Gets you pretty darn close to what you want to achieve in a short amount of time than it would have taken you by looking it up or trial and error. Yeah, but I think we're still a long way away from, let's say, letting it go in fully autonomous mode. And can you write a business service that does this for Siebel? And it will probably not do it correctly. But for
But
chunks or snippets, yeah.
yeah, but hi guys. But like speaking about these co-pilots and cursors and things like that, how do you kind of make sure that you control where your code is being ended up, where your code ends up? Because effectively, with using these tools, you are sending it to large language models, which like all of
Yeah,
these co-pilots and cursors are using. And it's kind of for us, we use it on internal projects, but we are kind of really scared and not comfortable to use it on the client's project.
exactly. Yeah. So there's the big question, where does your code end up? Does it end up in a public space? Does it end up in a training corpus for the next release? Yeah.
Well,
So,
with here at DCRI, it seems to stay inside the workspace, inside the Duke, and for us, it's Duke. It stays inside ours. It doesn't get out unless we publish it. You know, like saying this was really
no, but
great.
I mean, still, like when you ask either ChatGPT or Copilot or Cursor to do something with your code, it sends it to large language model, which is hosted somewhere. And this is where where the magic happens, right? So it's not like not within the EDE IDE as such. It's large language model which is hosted somewhere else, which does all the transformation, generations, summarization, whatever. So and then the question is like on the enterprise code, how do you actually control that it's not being misused? And again, this is like the kind of the concern we have. I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe Thomas, as you work for the end customer, or Jason, at least, these are the people whom I know, at least by name, who are on the customer side. Like, do you have any guidelines or practices, like how you do it, or you say you are allowed to use, but we have to provide the licenses, or you are allowed to use, but you have to point to our instance of LLM in Azure or on Anthropic Cloud or somewhere else, or there are no rules?
Well, for here, what I again use it for is just give me the framework of what I want to use. I don't necessarily use anything that is distinguishable. You know,
So, so,
like build me an
so
array that does this with these variables,
yeah. So you
and then
don't
I
upload
replace.
you don't upload your code to it to the LLM.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Which is probably the safest. Yeah. So you just ask it for, yeah, write a loop that does this and
yep. And then I take that and I put it in
mm,
my Notepad Plus and modify the fields and stuff appropriately.
yeah. But
Well,
if
so
it
that's a good question, and I'm going to think about that more.
yes, and so that's the danger of
Jason, do you have any guidelines around it in your company? I think Jason is like still celebrating Thanksgiving, and he's just listening in.
Hey, Uterus. Yes, we're using Copilot in a controlled fashion. I don't know details, but we are allowed to do it
Okay.
with a limited basis. But it is a great question and something that we're very cognizant of as well.
And basically to all the suppliers to you, right? So you would provide them with your Copilot version, right? So basically you would buy them a license.
We're only using our internal license for development for our own internal projects. We're in a different position in that we're not necessarily performing work on behalf of another company.
Yeah, but there's these other guys who are kind of suppliers to your company, right? And is it so that you provide them with the Copilot license that your company owns, or okay? All right, yeah, I think that's kind of the right way to do it. So
yeah, so yeah, think of a systems integrator, and they use, for example, they use the great extension that we have just seen in Visual Studio Code, and they connect through the REST API to the customer's repository, and their Visual Studio Code uses Copilot, the public one, and so immediately you have a security gap, right?
So, Uris, you are totally right. This is Chris. If you write code for a customer and use your some public Copilot instance, you have a problem.
yes, that's what we understand. Yeah.
That's it. So what you can do first is you can try to only to work in fragments without any hints and no secret coding. So as Nick says, some general structuring and things like that. Or if you have the chance that the customer has their own Copilot, then it's great.
Yeah. And I think kind of at this stage, also many customers, they don't understand like this Copilot. So if you ask them, they say like, what? Why do we need it? I say, it makes our developers productive.
Yes.
So we're not paying for that. You can use on your own, but we're not paying for that. And say, but we cannot use it on our own because it's your code, and we don't want to expose your code.
But it's so fresh. It's 2 years now, so it's so fresh. So I think in 2 years we will have a lot of customers
we will have like answers in 2 years. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, but inevitably we went down the AI rabbit hole. Okay.
And I think it's also kind of, when you start using it, so first you kind of control yourself, you just give a little bit, and you're like very conscious of that you're not exposing like trade secret or very particular pieces of code. But then it's I think it's kind of very easy to step over this line, right? And give a little bit more and a little bit more. And this is, I think, kind of very, very tricky.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the great question of our times. Okay. Wow. So yeah, thanks again, Laszlo, for the great presentation, and it's good to see that the daemon, the live demo daemon, is still still here around in these days. So happens to everybody. But yeah,
hasn't retired yet.
now we convinced it to go away. So yeah, if there's anything else you want to discuss, we still have a bit more time as usual, so we can jump into any topic, or just call it another Siebel Friday. Nothing here from you guys. All right. Then thank you very much, and
thank you.
there will be just a quick announcement. There will be the usual try me, don't dare me Siebel Friday, the last Siebel Friday this year on yeah, you know, end of December. So I hope everybody does not attend this one. So you stay with your families and have a safe yeah, handover to 2025 in case we don't hear or see you. So stay safe and have a great time. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Alex. Bye.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank
Good
you.
results.
Bye-bye.
Bye.